some handcrafted YAML metadata for the top to read it back into R and see how well that works. So let's try a very default way of reading data in. I'm just going to go using reader. I'm going to go read underscore CSV. I'm going to point it straight at the file that I want. Using tab completion to help me fill in the file name. All right, let's run that and see what we get. You don't get your data set back, do you? You get back this weird thing. I've got a single column in my data frame, and its name is 3 dashes, and then I get the entire contents of the file spit out below me. That's not what I wanted at all. I want a Gapminder back. Why did this happen? Because R is going to read that text file as if it were all a CSV, but we want to tell it to skip the metadata. We have a couple of options there. One thing we can do is use CSVY straight up. So here we go. Read CSVY. I'm going to point it at the function, rather the data Gapminder CSVY. Seems that I've made a mistake with my YAML. Let me see where that is. Line 14. Sure enough, here it is. I missed a colon right there. Good to know. So now I've got Gapminder after. Let's look at it with Glimpse, which is from Deep Learning. That looks much more normal. I can also do head for here on Gapminder. But now this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to run structure. So far, head and glimpse showed us nothing more than we would have expected had we read in a normal file. If I run str, that is a base R command that gives me the structure of an object back. So with that, you can see exactly how R represents an object in its memory. So here you can see that every column has got this handy little attr thing, followed by some information here, followed by stuff that looks awfully familiar. It's what I typed in on top of Gapminder. So this extra detail here is called an attribute, and that attribute applies to that specific column, not to the whole data frame, but to that column. So for example, country has the attribute title, and it is name of country, and the description, countries of the world. So this is really handy if you are analyzing data and it's documented in CSVY, and if you've read it in with read CSVY, then you have all the information at your fingertips, right inside R. You don't need to go back to the file to read the metadata. You can just type str, and the relevant information is right next to you there in RStudio. I want to point out something else here. When we look, I'm going to play the bit where we look for glimpse again, and that shows us the type of columns in the data frame. Remember how we were setting the class for each attribute in the CSVY file itself. So back here, I said that, for example, the class of continent is character. And here, sure enough, continent is a character vector when I read it back in. Let's try that out. For example, let's turn year. There it is. I'm going to go up to the entry for year. I'm going to type in character for year, and you can just see what happens. So I've saved that. I'm going to rerun that line, rereading Gapminder with this new. Look at glimpse again, and lo and behold, year is now a character vector, and it's entered each as discrete categories that don't have any information about which number is bigger than the other. Probably not what you want in this case, but useful if, for example, you have, say, numeric codes for your blocks in an experimental design. You might not want to have those getting read in as actual numbers, because block 1 doesn't mean number 1 or the first of something. It just means block numbered 1, right? So that might be a case where you would want to set the column types, and then that's a nice added bonus of this metadata. All right, so all that works, but it's not perfect. Suppose I wanted to read. I didn't want to use this fancy CSVY package. I just wanted to use regular reader or just regular read CSV. Isn't all that YAML stuff kind of in the way? There are two ways of getting past this. the CSVY, but if you don't want to be stuck to that, then what you can do is comment it out. So that means actually adding a comment character in front of each line, which means that the rest of the line is ignored by R. So as you recall from writing your R scripts, the comment character is anything followed by anything written after a pound sign, or a hashtag, whatever you want to call it, is a comment. So here we can just add these pound signs to this file. Now this is extremely boring, so I'm going to use a quick little trick which I will show you. I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm going to copy the whole thing over into a new R file, as if it were R code now. Unnecessary hashtags here. Highlight the whole thing, and then go code, and then comment lines. And then I'm just going to copy and paste it back. So X that out of there, and paste it. So now I have the exact same information as before, except now I have got hashtags in front of it, and these, or pound symbols, whatever you want to call them, and these are going to indicate to R that this should be ignored. So I will just fix my spacing, and then I will show you how that is done. All right, now that everything is commented out, I will show you that in this context, gapminder read CSVY does the same thing.